To get started with full fermentation feeding and exploit these advantages, it is important that the fermenting facility is set up correctly from the start, and that hygiene in and near the facility has high priority. The fermenting facility must be established in separate buildings, situated 30 meters or more from the production buildings, to reduce bacterial contamination. The fermentation facility can also be established with in-ground, lid-covered tanks located outside. Depending on the size of the farm, the feed batches can be fermented in 1 or 2 tanks. The actual fermentation takes place as follows. Hygiene is very important, therefore the tanks must be cleaned prior to the start of fermentation. After the tanks are cleaned, put the graft material in the tank. The material could be fermented whey or potatoes. Add grain and protein products such as wheat or canola, also known as rape meal. The fermentation process takes 24 hours. It is advantageous to optimize the feed going into the fermenter, so whole truckloads of each product are used. Protein products such as soybean meal and canola meal can be added from a storage bin or manually with a tractor front-end loader. During the fermentation process, the temperature in the tank optimally hovers around 35 degrees, but must at least be 25 degrees. The higher the temperature, the higher the lactic acid level. After 24 hours in the tank, the fermented basic material is pumped to the feeding kitchen, where minerals and possibly proteins are added in quantities corresponding to each target animal group protein level. Now, the product is ready to feed. When the facility is established, it is important that the fermentation tanks must be placed in a separate building. The inner shells are coated with epoxy or fiberglass to protect the concrete from damage due to the low pH. An oscillating propeller sits in the bottom of the tank. A pump sits outside of the tank that pumps the fermented feed to the kitchen. Although synthetic amino acids are added to the diets, the synthetic amino acids do not degrade because the feed has attained a pH below 4.0. Moreover, the feed remaining in the pipes between feedings will not become damaged because it is preserved. Therefore, it is not necessary to tube circulate the feed before feeding. Diets can safely be left in the pipes. Depending on the size of the farm, you may choose to use 2 in-ground fermentation tanks with a total capacity of around 200 cubic meters. This makes it possible to have 1 tank that contains finished product and 1 tank that is undergoing fermentation. For smaller farms, you may only need 1 fermentation tank and a residue tank. For more information, contact our sales staff or visit fermentationexperts.com. Fermentation Experts, for your health.